in prime time, under the bright lights for you on the sidelines. The fans in the stands keeping doubly bright high. The gridiron fly guys, the green and the gold, yeah, they call it the franchise. The gizmos, the miles, the moves, the Kepleys, old spaghetti legs, Ricky Ray, Willie Bless, and whoever comes next to bring back the chip and add another brick to the legacy. Cause it's double E over everything. Double E is a legacy. Double E over everything. Double E, we rising up.
The Edmonton Elks roll into Winnipeg to take on the Blue Bombers, a place they haven't tasted victory since 2018, a team that's had their number in 12 straight matchups. But tonight, it's a fresh chance. Trey Ford and the Elks offense are coming off a late game spark, and the defense is hungry to make a stand. Week 4 of the CFL kicks off with the Elks chasing their first win of the season. We'll see if they can flip the script in Winnipeg. Elks, Bombers, it's Thursday Night Football, but first, this is the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. I am Iwanyk. He is Jay Milne. We're live on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. Thank you to everyone for listening live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, and for those watching on YouTube, your thoughts always going to be welcome. 780-218-9999. That is the inbox you could text us at, or of course, you could jump into the nasty chat. The Elks out in Winnipeg, kickoff just after 6:30 on TSN. Our boy Dustin Nilsson on the call for you as well on TSN. But Jay and I are going to get you set for this big game out in Winnipeg. The line's also pretty big too, but not in the Elks' favor. Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing swell. Matthew, I'm doing great. I'm excited.
Are you?
I just love football.
Game days are always fun.
Yeah.
Even when you're not expecting.
Even when there's a high likelihood that the Elks get blown out tonight, I'm still excited.
Do you know why?
Guess what? They got to play the game.
Well, there's a saying, and now it's more Americanized, but any given Sunday for a reason.
There you go.
You play the games. I'll always stand by. The New England Patriots should have been undefeated that season, but they lost one game. And if that game gets played 9 out of 10 times, I think the Patriots are winning it. But that one time they played it, they lost. And they don't have the Super Bowl, and they don't have that perfect season. You play the game for a reason. The Edmonton Elks, it's not good. I said 12 straight losses to the Bombers, haven't won since 2018. Oh, in Winnipeg themselves. But all it takes is one good day. Maybe it's just it takes a couple good drives, and this game flips in the Elks' favor. Let's get to the starting lineups of the Edmonton Elks first here. And for those watching on YouTube, you will see the depth chart for the Elks. Trey Ford, again, your starting quarterback. The men protect him from left to right. And we will get to the injury report with Jay momentarily here, which will impact the offensive line. But left to right, Ivy, Evans, the second, Cordy, McKellar, and Boyko. The receiving core, Dunbar, Gittins Jr., Smith, Julian Grant, and Mathis. Rankin, the starting running back, and Green is the fullback. On the defensive line, it is Barlow, Brinkman, Serezna, and Smith. The linebacking core, Morgan in between Anderson and Garnes. And then your secondary Metier in the middle with Bynum, Jackson, Williams, and Ford. Blanchard still the kicker. Grace is still the punter. And Leak will start with the kick return duties. Jay, injury report.
Yeah, so really nothing new to report other than David Beard has been placed on the 6-game injured list. I heard a clip from Mark Killam from yesterday that suggests this is not good, that he's having a hard time with this injury. It's not going his way, I believe, is the exact quote from Coach Killam. So that's a blow. That's a blow. That was a huge signing in the offseason. To not have David Beard as your center is a huge blow. There's no other way to look at it. But silver lining is that Mark Cordy steps in, who was there all year last year. And Mark Evans goes into his natural fit at a guard position. As we all remember, in week 1, he filled in at right tackle for Brett Boyko. That's not his natural position, tackle. So I think it's going to be a smoother transition tonight, having Evans in at left guard.
For the Winnipeg, actually, one more note. Ragumba, not in the lineup. He was cut this week by the Edmonton Elks. Jackson, who finished last week's game against Montreal in the halfback slot, he moves from the Sam linebacker spot to the halfback spot, and Garnes takes over in the Sam linebacker spot. When you look at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the key player, Zach Larson, his second start of the season. He was suspended for the first game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It'll be his second start of the season. In running back, no Brady Oliveira, as he is still injured, but local product from the U of A Golden Bears. Yeah. Matthew Peterson will be in at running back. We'll get a chance to see him. Weedfall has really stepped up this season for the Blue Bombers. Dalton Schoen is still there. Nick Dembski listed as a game time decision, so we'll have to wait and see if he's playing. Defensively, they still have Willie Jefferson, and that's Jefferson, and that is a difficult defense to go up against at the Edmonton Elks. We'll have to try to crack tonight. On the show today, we will get to our three stories of the game. We'll get to our Play Alberta Game Day odds check. We're going to hear from Tyrell Ford of the Edmonton Elks, who's going up against his former club. He left the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to sign with the Edmonton Elks this past offseason. We'll get to our keys to an Elks victory as well as a prediction. Weather in Winnipeg. Huss was saying it's a beautiful day. As of yesterday, there was 700 tickets left, so this game is going to be sold out. 26 degrees out in Winnipeg tonight. So this they'll obviously cool off slightly, although wind gusts upwards of 40 kilometers an hour, so wind maybe comes up as a little bit of a factor. Jay, would you like me to get to the question of the game?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm anticipating this question.
When you look at Play Alberta, the line has moved
to 10.5, huh?
It was up to 11 today. Has it dropped down to 10.5?
Was it up to? Is it up to 11?
It was at 11 during Lock Shop.
What's it at now?
Currently, it is 10.5. So it has dropped. Mm-hmm. It started at 9.5. So right off the bat, just based off that, it's not good when one team's getting double-digit points. You're not really seen as a favorite or having much of a shot coming into this by the odds maker. I'm not going off of that part of this. My question for you tonight, Jay, is this Elks team, they're 0-2. They're going up against a solid Winnipeg team, which we'll talk about a little bit on the show today. They haven't won in Winnipeg, as I've said, since 2018. They have lost 12 straight to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Are moral victories good enough tonight for the Edmonton Elks? And the three questions or options I've thrown up on Twitter. Yes, Winnipeg is strong. I only have so many characters. I want to go also like early in the season. They're still growing. No, it's pro sports. The W is all that matters. Or other, and please specify. And I've got a couple responses on Twitter, including Dave in Section T I will get to. But Jay, I'm posing this question to you. And Nasties, I want it from you as well. Nasty chat, Parish Jules, Box 70-218-9999. Are moral victories enough for the Edmonton Elks tonight?
Oh, I want to answer yes and no.
No, because it's
because this is a good team, and I believe the Elks need to show signs of improvement. But at the same time, no, because this is professional sports. The only thing that matters is the W. There's not a half point or quarter point for, good effort. You guys were close. So I guess ultimately, Matt, I'm going to have to side with no, which I think is getting probably the majority of the vote.
66% saying no, 31% saying yes, 2% saying other. CJ_Hendo said other. If Ford and the offense can have a solid game, that would be a moral victory for me. So I guess moral victories would be good for him. I have a betting one from Jared who says other good teams win, great teams cover. Do the Elks cover is the question we should be asking. But then Dave in Section T, he has this. Winnipeg didn't put up a lot of yards in BC. If Edmonton's defense keeps them under 300, that will be a positive. If the Elks can rush for over 120, this could be a game. Need to run the ball at least 25 plays, let the O-line attack, pass pro versus Jefferson, protection versus Jefferson, and crew all game will just demoralize.
Read the start of that statement again.
Winnipeg didn't put up a lot of yards in BC. If Edmonton's D keeps them under 300, that will be a positive.
I think that's a real... By the way, the great comment, Dave. That is very smart. I agree with that. I said it just recently here on the Reed Wilkins show that I think this is more about the defense coming together and showing that they can defend, and that those acquisitions they made. I mean, 11 new starters now. Or sorry, the whole D line is new
from last year.
Yeah.
The whole D line. So you have Anderson, you have Morgan, you have Jackson, you have Bynum. So you have 4. So 8 of 12 are new players to this defense.
So they need to step up and play. I've said this before. The mental mistakes for this defense have been their crux. That is what's been killing them. They've given up big plays, big mental plays. But yeah, it is true that if you can hold this team, Winnipeg, under 300 yards, and oh, by the way, in turn, you can go rush for over 100 yards, that's a winning formula at any level of football, from minor football to the NFL and in the CFL. Those are winning combinations. It's a matter of if they can get it done. I still think this team, I guess the positive, Matt, would you say we've seen 50% of what the Elks can do? They have not put it together. Plain and simple.
Of what I believe they could do, I haven't seen it.
Right, but that's
there
the question.
Comes a point in the season where you go, well, what are they?
Is this just what they are?
This is what they are type thing. So that's the question that is going to have to come up. I think I spelled morale wrong. I think I didn't put the E on either my tweet or on my... I had a rush on the Wirecast. I didn't have time for that one, so I don't think I did on my tweet. So
you're forgiven, bro.
I'm not with some of these nasties.
They just like to point it out.
They jump.
They have to.
But see, and here's the thing, I'm okay with moral victories tonight. I'm okay sitting here and saying the Elks, they lost by 7 points, but we saw an offense move the football, and we saw signs of an offense that we were expecting to see at some point this season. I would sitting here and saying, the defense went out there and they got some stops, and we saw improvements from the first 2 games of the season for the Elks. I can live with, again, I also come into this season thinking that this team was going to go 0-3 to start. I can live with the idea of an Elks loss tonight on a post-game show we're talking about, but look at these positives from it. So that's where I can live with moral victories for this team at this point of the season.
I think that's very fair. And I agree with you. I just know that in football and professional sports, it is about the W's.
Yes.
But with the struggles that this team has had early in the season on defense with Trey Ford, if you can see significant improvements in those 2 areas, but they lose by a field goal or, keep it close, I get that. That would be a move in the right direction. There's no question.
So there you go. Question of the night. Are moral victories good enough for the Elks tonight? Or do you need to see W to be happy at the end of tonight, no matter what, when it comes to the Edmonton Elks? Let's get to our Play Alberta Game Day Odds Check, which is, of course, brought to you by Play Alberta, proud presenting sponsor of Edmonton Sports Talk. They are also the proud presenting sponsor of the EST Golf Classic coming up on July 8th. Download the app. Check them out, playalberta.ca. I'll jump into the nasty chat right away. We're here for a couple comments. Earlier today, I did see the Elks at plus 400. It's now plus 379 on the money line. 10.5 is the spread, over under at 50 in this game. If you click on EST specials, we've got 3 Elks ones up there. Jay's play of the day today from the Reed Wilkins show was Trey Ford over 1.5 passing TDs. That's plus 182.
I like those odds. That's good value.
Elks plus 11 and Justin Rankin with 60 plus rushing yards. That's plus 425. And Jay and Matt's big play of the day of the game. We've got confirmation, because I know there was some confusion earlier. We got confirmation from Play Alberta that it is indeed going to be second half versus first half points for the Elks. But the play of the game, which is plus 1,800. Elks plus 10.5. Justin Rankin 50 plus rushing yards. Elks defense to get an interception or fumble, and them to score more points in the second half over the first half, which I do want to throw this stat out there. I got to get into my notes.
This is a sneaky one you put in there. The second half.
The second half.
Over first half.
Oh, the Elks this season.
I believe you, and I bet you got something to say about that.
Well, in the CFL this season, too. Through the first 3 weeks. First half points, 240. Second half points, 384. 62% of the scoring has been made after halftime through the first 3 weeks of this CFL season.
Look at that, Matty.
Woo! Plus 1,800. So
that's
again,
why you
Elks
get
plus
paid the
10
big
and a half.
bucks.
Justin Rankin 50 plus rushing yards. Elks defense to get an interception or fumble. Elks to score more points in the second half versus first half. That is plus 1,800. Box pounder, win the turnover battle. No missed assignments, and the Elks can keep it close. Kevin Van Dasselaar, no, because the offense needs to show something fast and quick. So I'm guessing maybe moral victories on that one. Zulu, need the D to have a good start here. Been hemorrhaging points like mad. And then Matt Hyman, I don't see any single tickets available on Ticketmaster. So yeah, it looks like this one might be sold out down in Winnipeg. 2 more texts in the inbox. Moral victories are great in the preseason. They need the dub. Try and build some momentum going into July. That Owen guy texts that in. But that's my point, is not having a very good game when you're not expected to, when you're expected to lose by 2 scores. Is that not something to build off of getting momentum as we head into July? And Jordan saying you can't have moral victories when you start 0-5 every season. And that's a very fair point, but I won't be talking about moral victories next game. I'll tell you that much right now. You just can't.
We could be talking about a victory after this game.
I really hope we do.
I mean, it could happen. I just, that's the thing, and it's very CFL to suggest that, and I think any Elks fan would look at this and say, okay, if they can put it together on defense, and they can push the ball down the field on offense, who's to say they can't be in this game? Those are big asks based off the level of play in week 1 and week 2, particularly with the defense. But you got a lot of money back there on defense. You got a lot of free agents that you went out and hunted and signed. They need to step up. That front 4 needs to step up. They have 1 sack this season, Matt.
I'm aware. And that's a perfect transition into my the 3 stories of this game. And the very first storyline of this game for me, which is the battle of the lines. And let's start. I have offense and I have the defensive part of this, but let's start with this defensive line.
Not good enough.
And the one thing is, if there was coming into the season, this is where I was wrong about this team. I thought having 3/4 or 3/4 of this team, 75% of this line, having played last year together in Toronto, and having the defensive line coach also come and join them this year in Dimitri Maxey, that this would be a part of the defense that could get going right away. There wouldn't have been a growing pains. There wouldn't have been learning curves because at least 3 of them know what their defensive line coach wants from them and know how to play with each other. And you're just adding 1 more, which I guess I will throw this way because I've never been in the film room. I've never been in practice room. How much does a defensive coordinator's defense and schemes they want to go with impact what the D-line can do, or is that just, how does that play out?
It depends, when you're defending the run, you're closing holes, you're filling gaps. When you're defending the pass, it depends on the quarterback. I mean, Kolaris isn't known as a big runner, so you may not have to try and close down the pocket like you would on a Trey Ford. On Trey Ford, if your defensive end takes an inside move and Trey Ford sees that, he pops outside of that, he could turn that into a huge play. Not so much with Kolaris. So in this case, yes, you're able to pin your ears back a bit more and go. But especially for guys like Jake Serezna, Jared Brinkman, that's just a desire. You're in the stuff. You don't want to be there, but they are. And that just comes down to never shutting down your motor and keeping it going. So I would like to see more from the defensive line. I think they have to get more because right now they're not able to put pressure on a quarterback unless they're sending a blitz.
That's the thing. Like I just expected more from this defensive line. We saw a little bit of pressure out in BC, but Rourke got around it. Against Montreal last week with Davis Alexander, didn't see a lot. And then really, I almost want to say they only have 1 sack because the other one came against MPT.
True.
They weren't getting Davis Alexander. So I like the defensive line really needs to step up because that should have been the line that I thought was going to get rolling and get going. And we all thought that was the best defensive line last year.
They came in. They were a group that played together last year and won a Grey Cup.
The 3 of them got paid.
Yep.
It's time to step up. It's time to show.
Yep.
And the one thing they're going up, one thing I could feel very confident in saying too, against the quarterback, they're going up against tonight, not a pair of the other 2. Zach Kolaris is not going to beat you with his legs that much. He is not Nathan Rourke with his legs, and he's not Davis Alexander. So you can't even use you just escape pressure by the pocket. No, you need to get to him. This is a pocket quarterback that you're mostly going up against.
Yep.
This is your time to eat.
Absolutely.
Go eat if you're the defensive line of the Edmonton Elks. Now, a flip side to this, the offensive line is the other thing to discuss here, which is, you've mentioned it already, David Beard not there. Evans going into more natural spot. But we did see him in the first week with Brett Boyko and struggled. Going up against Matthew Betts. Now, Winnipeg has only 2 sacks this year themselves, so through 2 games, not exactly.
And that's not his natural position at tackle, man.
Not his natural position, which is a big deal. But I will throw to you, how much better is this for the Edmonton Elks? You don't ever want to lose David Beard, but when you can, have a guy like Mark Cordy move to center. So it's not even like you've lost a center. You've lost a guard.
Yeah.
How much easier is it as an offense to possibly go survive having to mask a guard position?
It's much easier to mask a guard position than it is a tackle. A tackle's a lonely place to be if you're getting your ass whooped play in, play out. And especially with a quarterback like Trey Ford, it just changes everything. Because Trey Ford may bounce out way earlier than you expected, causing you to have to adjust angles that you can't see. You don't have eyes in the back of your head. But yes, masking a guard position is much easier. And I cannot stress this enough. Mark Evans II is 6'4", 295 pounds. He is built to be a guard. That is, if you were to design a guard in Madden football or something, that's what you would do.
I don't think I've ever, in all my years playing Madden, I don't think I've ever created an offensive lineman. I've made defensive line, but I don't think I ever did an offensive lineman.
That is a prototypical guard. Okay, you look at the players like Brett Boyko, 6'7", 305, taller, lighter guy, but you need to be able to move out there at the tackle position. So I honestly look. I've been wrong before in the past, but I don't think that this will be an issue tonight. I don't think this will be.
No.
Oh, but yeah, they were without David. Well, it can't be because I don't think David Beard's coming back for a while. So if they can figure this out, still be able to run the ball, still be able to create a pocket for Trey Ford. Now, hoping that Trey Ford actually uses the pocket and passes out of it like a normal quarterback does. Sorry, my miniature rant's over. I think they can. I don't think it's going to be a talking point. I certainly hope not.
Why? Okay, so that's storyline number 1. I'm glad you go the other way because we got to get to the second storyline of this game, which takes us. It's like you've read my mind. The transition.
Matt, it's just you and I, we just play off each other. You're the yin to my yang. That makes any sense.
Second storyline is looking for rhythm, and that's this offense needing to find rhythm. And before I get into some things here, I got into this with Hernan a little bit on ESC Afternoons. I don't think this is a game you can design as Jordan McSimic with Trey Ford being majority of a pocket quarterback. I don't think it's that you're beating a Winnipeg Blue Bombers team that way. They're too good. I think some of the best things that we've seen from Trey is when he gets, I'm not saying, I understand where you're coming from with a little bit. If the play is a pocket play, trust your pocket and don't run out too soon. But I think they need to get him on his move a little bit more. I think they need to use his feet a little bit more. I think you need to see more rollouts. I think he has a pretty good arm when he's rolling out, actually.
Throws very well and accurate on the run, yes.
I think you need to find some of those in there. And you'll throw in screens, and that's there too. I don't want to see Trey that immobile today. I think if they're going to find a way to beat the Bombers, Trey's going to have to be, and it's not necessarily actual runs. He's going to have to be moving in that backfield, though. And then I think that's going to have to be designed.
Yeah, I agree, Matt. And look, they've done it, twice over 2 games, rolled Trey out, and both were successful completions downfield. So, yeah, this game is going to... I think Jordan McSimic from game 1 to game 2 improved. He did what everybody said to do, run the damn ball. They did that. They did it successfully. Now can he pass the next test of creating a game plan that allows Trey to use his best attributes to his benefit? Move him out of the pocket. That's fine. But you can't do that every play. And we've seen Trey in the pocket deliver some balls. It just hasn't happened that much this year. But especially in the CFL, you need that. You need to attack the center of the field. You need to push the ball downfield. So if that means they got to roll them out more, sign me up.
I just want to give you a heads up. The best ever French dip sandwich.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted?
Yeah.
It's ordered.
Is it?
Cider gravy ordered. I asked for some ketchup packets and I got fish and chips. We're ordering Refinery Grill tonight.
Yes.
For the meal. For Green and Gold Kickoff Show. It's now ordered.
The beef dip is just...
They're preparing your order for pickup. So we've got a half hour. That's plenty for them to go cook it up, me grab it.
Beautiful. Thank you.
No, thank you.
This is nice. I already, I think next week I'm going to order in some Chinese.
I like that.
That'll be not next
Sunday.
week. It'll be the Sunday.
The 6th.
Sunday the 6th.
Looking at this offense, I think one is looking to see how this team can open it up more. I think Reed talked about it a bit on your guys' show today as well, where, throwing the ball a little further downfield. The Elks actually have had a bit of success moving the ball down the field.
Yes.
I'm going to find my stats here. Trey Ford this season for the Edmonton Elks, 20-plus yard passes. He's 50%, 6 of 12, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. His efficiency is 133.7. 133.7. It's not bad. Let him throw the ball.
Let him cook, baby. Let him cook.
Let him throw. And now the BC game, I think a little more was that O-line did struggle. Maybe there wasn't enough time.
Yes.
But we saw it late in that game in the third quarter and the fourth quarter when Trey was able to allowed to, if maybe, or finding his receivers getting open, or he was looking downfield, whatever it was. But once he started going downfield, they had some success.
Yep.
And that's going to be important in this one as well. Do you think the last week is something you can build off of if you're the team too?
100%.
Offensively.
The way that game finished, and I've said this, but I don't buy the garbage time. All of the starters for Montreal were still in. And they were moving the ball. They were hey, you know what they were doing? They were challenging them deep. They were challenging the edges. I mean, it's not rocket science. If it's working, lean into it. The run game worked. Lean into it. If Trey getting out of the pocket helps, lean into it. So that's why Reed made a great point earlier that there's a lot, maybe not pressure is the right word, but there's a big game for Jordan McSimic, in my opinion.
I would agree. Like Dave Naylor had a piece that Dustin talked about with Eric a couple of days ago. I think it was Wednesday maybe, where the pressure's turning up on Trey here. And from a fan base, I don't see that. And in fact, if I had him put a guess, like if they have a poor offensive showing, I think from more Elks fans, the majority will look at Jordan McSimic more before they look at Trey Ford.
Ooh.
I think from a fan base, yes.
Yeah,
they've been wanting Trey, and I think there's going to be more leeway from the fans toward Trey. And from a fan perspective, they're going to want to see better from Jordan McSimic.
Yeah, I think you need to put Trey in the best position to succeed, but that's still that's not a compliment to Trey Ford. Okay,
best position to succeed.
Yeah, because you shouldn't have to. Your starting quarterback should go out there and be able to move the ball productively down the field in any position or whatever position you put him in. You shouldn't have to tweak your offense to say, "Oh, Trey's better on the run." I
disagree on that though, to a degree, because the Baltimore Ravens drafted Lamar Jackson and they completely changed their offense for him. They went to some place because they at the early days of Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, they ran an offense that no one else in the NFL ran. 31 teams ran a certain offense. The Ravens ran a completely different one because it suited Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson is an amazing pocket passer, though.
But he wasn't when he started his career. There's a lot of criticism.
Maybe there's hope here, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's the comparison. If I'm Larry Thompson, I have money. I am calling the Baltimore Ravens and be like, hey, how do I get a dinner with Lamar and Trey here? How can I, how much, who's his agent? What do I have to do to get that one done? But that's where I'm like, I don't have a problem with them having to build an offense to suit Trey's abilities because he's a different quarterback because of that speed and the running ability that he does have. Yeah. Then I'm fine. I don't think it's as much of a shot of him as, let's say, Brock Purdy when he first went to the 49ers. People went, well, what's the saying for quarterbacks? Game manager. I feel like game manager is a little bit more disrespectful, although I like game managers.
Smith TM14's in the chat. You don't want to bring up Brock Purdy. That could derail the whole conversation.
I'll still say, I think he is a bit of more of a game manager. I wouldn't have paid him as much as he got, but there's nothing wrong with that. It wins you football games, or it can win you football games.
It can, Matt.
So that's where, so that's why I disagree a little bit on the knock of that offense. That's just it, or especially early days.
I know what you're saying, and I think both things can be right at the same time.
I agree. Well, if we're talking in September that they're still needing to do things to suit Trey, I'll be more disappointed.
And you know what? It's just this thing that it was kind of the Jeff Skinner effect, if you want. Likeable guy, positive person, and just never couldn't get it done on the ice. Well, Trey Ford is about as likable as they come. Oh, and by the way, he's a good old Canadian. Okay? He's been rubbed the wrong way by this organization the first, few years he's been here. Now it's his time to get... Of course, Elks fans want to see him succeed. Of course they do. So Jordan McSimic, it's your job to help him succeed. Because at this moment, he's not a world beater. Okay? This is his third game into a season that he was declared as the number one guy. He's never had that. So we're watching Trey Ford learn right in front of our eyes. Of course, everybody wants to see him blossom and become a killer, right? Jordan McSimic's job is to help him get there.
One other thing about today's game with the offense, running still is important.
Hit me.
Can I give you 2 stats of Justin Rankin last year against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
I love stats. Tell me he ate their lunch.
First game, which was here in Edmonton, which they blew. 157 rushing, 3 receiving, 160 total yards.
Ooh.
I thought the next week, I remember where I was going in the next week. I'm like, it's going to be tough to replicate that against the Bombers.
The dreaded watch party.
Yeah, that one was it. Thought, okay, that's the game. Zach Clark threw, was it 7 touchdowns? I should know this. The reason I should know that is that I won my fantasy.
September 27th, 24.
I won my Dunya title basically that night. Justin Rankin, though, that week, I thought, Bombers are going to be ready for him. 109 rushing yards, 12 receiving, 121 total. All-purpose yards.
Well,
he can't do it against this team. That's the thing. Like he can go up against this defense. He's built it seems like, against this defense. You need to make sure he gets the ball.
Yes. You don't need... Hey, look. I'm. You know what I should get? I should make an EST T-shirt that says "Run the damn ball."
Run the damn ball.
And we
get that heat press.
Let's do that. We should do that. We could put the green and gold logo on the back or something. That'd be really cool.
Run the damn ball.
That would be awesome. And do it in the Elks font. Like
fonts or our font.
The Elks font.
We could get tube socks to work on. First, we would need to get a heat press for that.
And
for a quick turnaround.
Things we could do with a heat press.
Big Uke, the watch party was timed though. We all just started cheering for Maddie's fantasy team. It was actually true because I was getting like a Kenny Lawler touchdown, and it was just everyone was happy for me at that point because that game wasn't a lot to be excited about. So there's your second storyline of this game. The looking for rhythm when it comes to the offense. Are we going to see it this week for the Edmonton Elks? Big plays, big problems. My third storyline of the game are the struggles of the defense here for the Edmonton Elks to start this season. I got a lot more numbers on this one.
Numbies.
Slowly throw them out there. But here's where I'm going to... It's easy to sit there and say the defense is tired because of the offense, and that's why they struggled. So I broke down 4 drives for the Edmonton Elks defense. The first drive of each game, the last 2 games, and the first drive coming out of the second half of the last 2 games. Here's what you can't use an argument about tired.
Sure.
You can't use an argument. It has nothing to do with the offense.
I like stats, Matt. This is a fun version of you.
Game 1, 8 plays, 74 yards. It ended as a turnover on downs on the 1 yard line. So got it at the end, but allowed the BC Lions to march 74 yards on 8 plays to their 1. To come out a second half out in BC, 7 plays, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Last week, after being up 3-0, the offense went out, got a field goal. The defense comes on the field, 10 plays, 70 yards, and a touchdown. So over 70 yards for those first 3. Second half last week, their best one, 5 plays, 20 yards, forcing a punt. It almost was 3 touchdowns to start, but they allowed the teams to march the ball. It hasn't been good enough, and they just can't seem to go out there and get off. Like I will go, last week when the Elks were up 3-0, the offense moved down the field, got a field goal. It was 2nd and 10 for the Alouettes' second offensive play. Imagine if they got that stop.
Yeah.
Imagine if they gave up 8 yards, 7 yards.
Yep.
It's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Montreal comes out their punt. The offense is coming back on the field after scoring 3 points. Would have we talked about a different football game? They gave up another 2nd and 10. The struggles of the defense need to improve. It scares me with who they're going up against because of the 6 touchdowns this guy did on the Edmonton Elks last time they played. Where are you with this defense?
This defense needs to show up. This defense needs to show that Ed Hervey made the right decisions. A lot of playmakers on this defensive side of the ball, Maddie. Show up.
And
I'm sorry, but Tyrell Ford has not impressed me so far. He has not impressed me. Has he been beat deep? No. But there's been several times passes have been caught in front of him. Metier needs to be the sergeant back there at safety. Metier needs to take somebody's head off. I don't care. Take a penalty. It's worth it. Do it. Be physical. Be violent. That defense has not been violent at all. Nick Anderson's been excellent. Nick Anderson has been one of the lone bright spots on this defense.
Yeah.
He ranks 3rd in the CFL in defensive tackles, but he's only played 2 games. Right?
Which also said the part of that is they've been on the field for a lot of plays.
He's a beast. Take on the identity of Nick Anderson. Show up. Take heads off. Make them pay for coming across the middle because right now it's been easy street. As a defense, you need to be violent. You need to want to hurt people. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. You maybe don't want to do that, but that's how you have to play. Play with physicality. Step up. Show up. And get off the field.
We'll continue with the defense here. Nick Demski in tonight for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Nick Demski in tonight, but battling something, so we'll see what type of Nick Demski Winnipeg Blue Bombers get. To your Royce Metier in the secondary, well, here's the thing. Like I talked about Trey's numbers throwing deep. Pretty good. Would you like to know what the Elks defense has done on big plays down the field? 20-plus yards?
Awful. Probably the worst in the CFL. Gotta be.
They've only had 6 attempts on them deep.
Mm-hmm. 6 for 6?
5 for 6. 176 yards. No interceptions. How many TDs do you think?
4.
Yep. On 6 attempts downfield, the opposition in 2 games has had on the Edmonton Elks. 4 of them in 20-plus yards have turned into touchdowns.
That's not good.
Do you know what the efficiency is for the opposition against the Elks with that?
High.
416.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't know that it went to 416.
I didn't even know the efficiency mark can go that high.
It's 416.
Jeez. What's the second closest to that?
150.
My gosh. That's sad.
And that's sad. Where it's like, yes, the defensive line needs to get to the quarterback, but why aren't you got to make plays. And this does go a little bit to Royce Metier too, as the safety there too. You've given up 4 touchdowns on 20-plus yard throws this season through just 2 games and only 6 attempts. That's not good enough. Like you need to go make some sort of play. You need to go knock a ball away. I don't care. Give me a pass interference penalty now at the very least or something. But it hasn't been good enough when it comes to just the big plays even, which are just crushing to this team. The Elks defense right now allows the team to march down the field a little bit and then gets burned for a big play.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to be better than that. JC Sherritt is going to have to be better than that when he calls these games. By the way, the Edmonton Elks, I think I read this correct. 2nd and long, 47.8%. The other team has a conversion rate. So they brought that down from the BC game.
Yeah, they improved.
Hamilton is the worst at 57%. 2nd and mid, which is only between 4 and 6 yards. The teams have completed 9 of 10 on the Edmonton Elks. They can't stop second and mid, and they struggle second and longs a bit too. So second down defense really needs to pick it up for this Edmonton Elks defense, and we'll see what adjustments JC Sherritt has made. The question of the night, are moral victories good enough for you with the Edmonton Elks tonight? They are big favorites or underdogs going into this game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Us talking about a solid offensive game, a solid defensive game. They lost by 3. Is that good enough for you if you're an Edmonton Elks fan? This text comes in, the DBs have not shown up, period. If they can't run the ball, game over. Haven't been impressed with the game plan and usage of our weapons, to be honest. But as I said, if they can't run the ball, it is over. In the nasty chat, Matt Hyman being kind.
He's a nice fella.
As much as I like the Bombers to blow out the Elks, a close game might be better for the grand scheme. It's very kind of you to Matt say. If I was on the other side, I'd be like, let's just blow them out. Blow them out. Finish this off. Finish this game.
Can you imagine an Elks blowout win tonight?
Well, you and Reed asked me, how do they win? And I right now, I don't even know how the path to victory would be for the Edmonton Elks. And I think in the end, I said it after, it's going to have to come down to you need to have forced turnovers by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and make them pay for those turnovers. I remember a game when Winnipeg came to town. I can't remember what year this was. Was this 3 years ago? I remember going in and even saying, like, the Bombers, they're a team that they just cruise throughout that season. They just cruise. And they don't need to be great yet. They'll be great in October and November. But at that point, they don't need to be great. So when they make an error, you have to make them pay, because if you don't, they're going to beat you. They're just better than you. And that was a game the Elks caused 2 turnovers. They had 2 interceptions, and they turned it into 0 points, and they lost by 14. And had they turned one of those into 7, I just know it would have been a different ballgame. Elks might have got that win. I think that's the path to victory. You got to find a way to force the Bombers to turn the ball over. You've got to find a way to protect the ball. But when the Bombers, or if you make them turn it over, you have to make them pay, because they're going to come back strong in the next series.
You got to put up points. If you can't put up points, you're not going to win. And that's a task against Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Through 2 games, Winnipeg has only allowed 34 points.
And one of those games was against Nathan Rourke. Like, we sit there and be like, they took on Jeremiah Mazzoli last year. They took on Nathan Rourke, though, in that first one. And they suffocated him in that BC Lions defense or offense and didn't allow points.
They've got to put up points.
But how do they go get those points?
Like, that's up to Jordan McSimic. I mean, and hey, running the ball consistently. Keep it up. Through 2 games, the Elks have only put up 42 points. That's not good enough in the CFL.
No.
Right?
No, I always feel like in the CFL, I want my defense to give up. If they're giving up 21 to 24
21,
points,
you should win.
21 to 24, I'm happy. You should be scoring 27 to 30.
Yeah, 30 or higher and 20 or less. That's a recipe. Very, very successful recipe. So, looking at the numbers of this, Matt, this doesn't look like it's a matchup that the Elks should even be involved in.
Which is why I do understand the number on the line.
Yeah. But that's why they play the game.
It's why they play the game. It's
Johnny Alberta says, Iwanyk, more like Iwanyk.
Yeah, I forgot this one stats pack that has like a lot of breakdown of the, like, they break down the passing of things. And that was the thing it was great to really dive into a little bit of that today as I was prepping for the show. Zach Collaros, 11 straight wins against the Elks. Well, against Edmonton. And as we mentioned, 6 TDs against this team last year in the final game matchup of the season between the two. Scout from Shotgun Sports Network, former Golden Bear Matthew Peterson, looking to have a big game against Edmonton. It is going to be cool to watch Matthew Peterson out there tonight.
Yeah.
I remember watching him.
Heck of a running back, man.
Heck of a running back. So it's
nice to see him getting his due. I mean, oftentimes Canadian running backs get drafted into the CFL and immediately get moved to fullback. So it's nice to see him getting his due as a running back, because he deserves it. So did a fellow I played with, Jared Winkle.
Did he not get it?
No.
Fullback?
Everybody, Jesse Lumsden was the best. Jared Winkle was the best running back in Canada.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Not by a mile, but he was. But everything was Jesse Lumsden this, Jesse Lumsden that. Jesse Lumsden ran 2 upright.
He was a beast for a while. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Big boy. He's like 6'4".
How that bobsledding career?
Bobsledding.
I don't know. Did he ever win a medal?
I don't know.
Jesse Lumsden. Oh, yeah, he's born in Edmonton. I forgot about that. He won a world championship in two-man, but he's never won an Olympic title. He was also the Heck Crichton Trophy winner in 2004.
Yeah, who was the nominees with him?
In 2004? Were you?
No.
Oh.
That's for offensive players.
Was it Winkle?
Yeah.
I can't see. They can't. Oh, maybe I can click for this.
I was just a measly, low-life All-Canadian, Matt.
Were you?
3 times. Well, 5 if you count junior.
There you are. Jason Milne. 2004 CIS football season. Jason Milne, free safety, Alberta.
You know it.
I didn't know they did all those. Oh, what a class. Andy Fantuz.
Yeah.
Donovan Picard.
Yep.
Where did he go in the CFL?
Hamilton, I thought.
Bombers for a little bit. Argos, Rough Riders, Bombers, Owls.
I'm thinking
He's a 2-time Grey Cup champion.
I'm thinking Matt. What was his name? Matt from McMaster.
Jason Pottinger. I remember him.
Jason Pottinger, heck of a linebacker.
Look at that. Oh, Ricky Foley was on the second team.
Ricky Foley. I played with all those guys in the East-West Bowl.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Good dudes.
So was that your first year as...
I don't know.
You did it the next year.
I think in 03 I was a second team All-Canadian because Sandy Beveridge got it above me.
Yeah, you weren't there in 06. So you were there first in 05. You were there in 04. In 03... They're not listing you in 03.
Because I think I was second.
They're not listing you in second team. They have Maxime Gagninière. They got this wrong.
Yeah,
They got this wrong.
I forget what year I was second team. Doesn't matter. The glory days, hey, Matt?
Absolutely. But I am very, like, it's a cool thing to watch Matthew Peterson go out there. From an Elks perspective, it'd be great, wouldn't it, if he could have 100 yards of the touchdown, but the Elks win 24-17 or something.
Yes.
That would be a nice win for, I think, everyone. It must be interesting if you're Chris Morris. It must be nice to see, as you just said, like one of your products. Also, now you're going up against him, but you're with the big club, and he's with a big club. But that's the beauty of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers tonight, with that organization, is that this is what they do. They just find people, and like, hey, they brought in Andrew Harris, they brought in Brady Oliveira to replace then Andrew Harris. Maybe we're watching Matthew Peterson be the guy to replace Brady Oliveira.
Who knows? I mean,
that's the plan here. Wouldn't that be something?
He had a good first week, so we'll see how it goes.
Last week wasn't too bad.
Wasn't too bad, but he didn't get loose.
No,
right? He didn't replicate that week 1 performance.
We got to get to our keys to an Elks victory. We'll get to Jay's prediction. But let's hear what Tyrell Ford, who's going up against his former club. He left Winnipeg Blue Bombers to come here to Edmonton. Joined his brother here, also just trying to turn this franchise around. But he's going up against his old team and his old stomping grounds. Here's what Tyrell Ford had to say at practice earlier this week on this matchup between the Elks and the Bombers.
Football is the least sentimental of all sports. But you're going back to Winnipeg. I mean, anything to you?
I mean, obviously, I played there for a little bit, but right now it's just the next game on the schedule, so prepare for that. And yeah.
I talked to Coach Grimes about, it's always said that defense is ahead of offense, and 1 out of 12 can make the play on defense, which is true. The secondary, though, kind of liken that to the offensive line, where you got to communicate well, and everything is new. You're playing beside a new player in Kobe Williams. Everyone's playing beside everyone new, for the most part. Tell me about the challenge of just getting the communication and everything down quickly. But it is new, and that is a challenge.
I mean, communication in football is so important, especially in the back end, because if you mess up, it's 6 points. Everybody in the stands knows it. So obviously, communicating before the snap. I think obviously we need to talk a little bit more, and just throughout the week, eliminating the mistakes, which I think we've done this week. We've done pretty well, not blowing any coverages. So time to take it into the game and see how it goes.
Yeah. Aaron also said in the meeting rooms, like, he's trying to make calls. Okay, what is that? Is that process helpful?
I mean, yeah. Just because every week you go out there, there's always little details, and we haven't been executing the little details to say the least. But again, like I said, this week it's been better. So I think that's part of him going over it in meetings and really emphasizing it. But it ultimately comes down to just us communicating on the field.
Things seem to really settle down in the second half, though. Made a couple changes, a couple tweaks, and then having Bynum and Cordell Jackson side by side seemed to help a little bit. But did you notice things kind of settle down?
Yeah, a little bit. I think a lot of it, I'm not going to lie, was once Bethel Thompson got in there, he's a little bit less mobile.
Right.
So it allowed us to contain the box a little bit better, like contain the quarterback. Because I found a lot of our big plays, like their big plays, came out when he was scrambling and running around. So I think, collapsing the pocket is definitely going to help us, because I didn't find like they were just drop back and just throwing it deep on us a lot, unless obviously we had the blown coverage. But
Right.
I mean, outside of that, I thought we covered decently well. It's just we got to plaster and keep the quarterback in the pocket.
With Zach Galeros, I mean, he's not a scrambling quarterback, but when he goes on the half roll, why is it successful?
I don't know. He's a vet. He's been around a long time. He's been doing it. I remember my first year in Winnipeg, 2022. I was like, I don't understand how he's getting out of some of these pressures, spinning and stuff. But I mean, I guess that's why he is the way he is today. But yeah, I'm excited to go against him. I had a lot of reps against him at practice, but now to go against him in the game should be fun.
So what do you think is going to be the key for you guys against him and the rest of that offense?
Again, I don't know if Brady's playing, but if Brady's playing, stopping the run. And then even though, Zach's a little bit older now, he still can kind of scramble and get loose a little bit. So again, containing the quarterback. And then just our little details communicating before the play. And I think we'll be all right.
What do you think is vibes like with the team over the last couple? Obviously, not the start you guys were hoping for in terms of the 2 losses. But what's it today like? Yesterday at practice. Like?
Yeah, I think the guys are leaning in on each other. We're all trying to work together. We all want to achieve the same goals. So everybody's pushing each other. And again, like I said earlier, I think this week we've taken a pretty big step forward, and I'm excited to take it to the game.
There's Tyrell Ford, defensive back of the Edmonton Elks. They get set to take on the Blue Bombers coming up a little over 10 minutes time down out at Princess Auto Field in Winnipeg. He's Jay, I'm Matt. This is Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports and the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Tyrell Ford mentioning a little less mobile, MBT versus Davis Alexander. They pointed out, so maybe we're going to see a better team against maybe this is a team that's right now built against the non-mobile quarterback.
Well, I think anytime you take that dimension away from a quarterback, it's going to make it easier for your defense to game plan. That's why I think it's so frustrating for Elks fans to see this offense not take advantage of what Trey can do and move him around. So that's funny that Tyrell Ford said that, because that's the exact thing that the Elks fans want to see for their starting quarterback.
Babbitt Stash heard the same thing. M&T a little less mobile, allows the D to get pressures. Sounds good for tonight. Jason, guys, I get the stats, I get the record. Manny, I get you called 0-3, and after tonight, we might be 0-3. But after today, like, the team has time to learn each other's tendencies, get used to the coaching staff. We got to get positive on this guy.
He does say that talks to text might not make sense. I get the general. Thanks for listening.
And after this, like, they do need to get better, but there's a lot of positives to come. Tube Sox agrees with you. Putting up points is key.
I think he's saying that tongue in cheek. Because
I know. They're scoring points. I think that's where that one's coming from. Box power pounders key to the Elks win today. Block, so the run game has a chance. We can't go second and long every possession. Jay, your prediction or your key to an Elks victory tonight?
Defense shows up. The defense needs to show up. The defense needs to take away the ball. The defense needs to be imposing. I think if this defense can do that, this is a close ball game. If they are continuing down these mental mistakes, not good. You simply can't win with that. I mean, the efficiency of deep balls for this team is just startling. But the defense needs to show up from top to bottom, from Metier to Morgan to Brinkman to Serezna to Robbie Smith to Devondrick Bynum. Get your head out of your collective butts and just do your job. Do your role. Stay in your lane. And if they can do that, they have a much higher likelihood of getting out of Winnipeg with a W.
Before I get to my key, you'll notice tonight this was announced by the CFL, which is kind of interesting that this has never been done. Moving forward, all CFL jerseys, home, away, and alternates will have a little Canadian flag on their left shoulder.
Oh, cool.
You'll see that. It's our league. It's Canada's league, so there's going to be a Canadian flag that you'll see on the jerseys.
That's a good point, Matt. It's like about time.
The press release, it says Canada's about to celebrate 158 years, and because it's the Canada Day weekend for the CFL, with it being on Tuesday. But it's been on helmets, but not on the jersey. Now it's going to be on the jersey. My key to the game, I've already talked about a little bit there. I think it's going to be, it's not just causing turnovers. It's making the Bombers pay for those turnovers, which means turning into points. If you get an interception, if you get a fumble today, if you're the defense, the offense then needs to make you pay, and they need to put up points. Like, I feel like the Elks need 2 turnovers, and that needs to be minimum 10 points. Minimum 10 points, if not the full 14.
It's a big ask, buddy.
I know, but I think that is one of the, like, you have to go force an error of the Bombers, and then when they make that error, you have to make them pay. Because the thing is, the Bombers do a good job of making you force errors, and they also do a good job of forcing you, or making you pay for those errors that they force.
This is such an exciting time because there's no score. The game hasn't started. We're optimistic. We're hopelessly optimistic. But hey, it's what you do. We've clearly acknowledged that this is an uphill battle tonight.
Yeah.
We've also acknowledged that there's a large group that do think that you can have a moral victory tonight.
Yeah.
Keeping it close. So let's see how this goes. I mean, the keys that we're presenting, those are big asks.
Yeah.
But it's not out of the realm of possibility, Matt. This team has not put it together once. Special teams have been the bright spot for this team, which is mind-blowing considering where we were last year at this time. So, positivity, baby.
Yeah.
Why not? What else are you going to do? Be a grumpy curmudgeon your whole life? And bitch and moan about the team your whole life? That's not how we do it.
Flip side is in 30 minutes. We might be that.
We might. We might.
So I'm hoping, like, if I had a hope for the game, it's that we're talking about a game that's still in question going into a fourth quarter.
Sure.
The Bombers could be up by 2 scores still, but it's in question still.
Sign me up.
I don't want to be like, it's 28-0 at half. Jay, let's play some Tecmo. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to the Green and Gold Kickoff
prediction.
show. Oh, yeah, your prediction.
24-21 Elks.
Wow. He's doing it. +3 something on Play Alberta. Throw it, bet it. Go for it, Jay. Get on that one.
How can I, after that rant, not take the Elks?
Coming up, we do have, the Elks game coming up on TSN. You can watch it. Dustin Nilsson will be on the call, I believe, with Glenn Suter. And then Jay and I will be back with the Green and Gold post-game show. We'll recap all the action with you, the Nasties, in the Nasty Chat, in the inbox at 780-218-9999. On behalf of Jay, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Elks Bombers coming up in just minutes out in Winnipeg. The Elks looking for their first win of the season. We will talk to you once it's over. Enjoy the football game.